Welcome one and all, Yanka here, and today I thought we would talk about a manga. And the manga in question is CardCaptor Sakura. Now, the first part of the manga, I'm going to go through all three parts of it, because I have them all. But today specifically is part 1, the Cloud Card arc. So I have all of the original 6 volumes, not the new omnibuses. Now, the artwork for the omnibuses is gorgeous, but I have the originals. So this is the first one, this is the cover. I think it's really cute and I love that outfit. I wish I could cosplay it, but I'm a little bit too old, I'd say, to get away with cosplaying as Sakura. So, number 1. Ooh. Then we have number 2. This is the second one. Doo-doo. Very cute again. Not as cute as the first one, but still pretty cute. Oh, I actually really like this one. This is number 3. I'm quite fond of green. It can look very pretty done right. So I quite like that outfit. I wish they'd have put that in the show actually. Did they put that in the show? I actually can't remember. I haven't watched CardCaptors in forever, so I'm going to have to rewatch this again at some point. Ooh, new favourite, number 4. Like, blue is my thing. I love blue. I love purple. Black as well. Pink. But yeah. Oh, so pretty. Very Alice in Wonderland as well. So, ooh, never mind. 5 is coming in and putting the others to shame. So, yeah. And, ooh, the last one. This is number 6. Yeah. Looking very nice. I mean, you know, Tomoyo does some seriously good artwork and some seriously good designing. So yeah, that's the covers of all of those. So yeah, we're talking about CardCaptors today. Now, as a lot of people probably know, CardCaptors is about a young girl who finds a mysterious book in her father's library, and she releases all of the cards out into the wild and basically has to go around and recapture them. Now, a lot of us grew up watching CardCaptors, the TV show. Now, there's quite a few differences between the TV show and the manga. One being that the number of cards in the show is like 52, whereas in the manga it's only about 18. Another difference is they do tone down a lot of the inappropriateness of some of the relationships. So, yeah, we'll be going into that a bit more. Ears just won't sit right today. So yeah, like I said, many of us grew up watching it. Now, I never got my hands on the manga as a child, but I did fall in love with the TV show, and that then led me to buy the mangas as I got older. Now, I had decided to go with the originals because I won them in an eBay lot, because they're all the old Tokyo Pop ones, and Tokyo Pop is no longer selling, as we all know. I would like also to get the new like omnibus editions, because the artwork, like I said, on those is absolutely divine, but I might have to wait for a while for that, you know. Monies is only so much of it. But yeah, so I loved CardCaptors growing up. It was great to see, you know, some of the representations. So Toya and Yukito's relationship was, you know, it was never overly stated in the dub, which I grew up as a kid, but then reading the manga and seeing that they were actually a couple and that they fell in love, that was really sweet to me, because it was the first time I'd ever actually seen that in any form of media, because back when I was growing up, like, gay inclusivity wasn't really done in TV shows. Now, I also loved the fact that Sakura was this strong, tough as nails girl, but she was also vulnerable and she did get scared and she needed help. And I thought that was a great way of showing to little girls that, you know, you can be tough as nails, you can be one of the lads kind of thing, but it's okay to cry and it's okay to get afraid of things at times. It's never be afraid to ask for help. And I used to love that. And I still do about Sakura. You know, she's one of the really strong female leads that shows that you can be strong, but feminine at the same time. I loved Lee as well, and Tomoyo, and Toya, and Yukito, Kira Barros as well. Like the entire cast is wonderful. Now, one of the few issues that I have with CardCaptor Sakura, especially the first arc, is they're in elementary school. They're about 9 or 10 in the beginning. And there is a 9 and 10-year-old, or 10-year-old, I can't remember exactly how old she is, who is basically engaged to her teacher. Now, this to me, having watched the job, she was afraid of the teacher in the job, and I didn't realise that in the manga she was actually romantically linked to him, and she's in love with him, and that to me was that creeped me out, and still to this day I think it's one of the few black marks on the CardCaptor franchise. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, but it's not meant in a sexual way, I guess is the only way to say it, but she is obviously in love with her teacher. She makes him a teddy bear to show her feelings to him and gives it to him. Now, I know that it's an arranged marriage and it's a whole thing, but she is 9. This is not okay, Clamp. It is not okay. Another thing was having Tomoyo be in love with Sakura, considering they're first cousins or second cousins. Like they're very closely related anyway. It was like when they introduced the mum, and the mum basically admits that she was in love with Sakura's mum, and they were cousins as well. And I'm like, no, stop with the incest. No. Those to me were the only 2 parts really that I was like, no. I have a big no incest rule. I mean, when it's played for kicks and silliness, like in High School Host Club, that's one thing. But the twins aren't serious in that. They're playing it up to the audience. But for me, incest, and especially the hinting of the teacher as well being in love with the little 9-year-old, no, those are the 2 black marks on CardCaptors that I have. Other than that, the artwork is divine, the storylines are amazing, going through each week, catching the new card, finding out the powers, watching Sakura grow and develop. It's amazing. And considering it's only 6 volumes, they do such a good job of compartmentalizing it all into that one contained story and it not feeling rushed. Because I do have to admit, one of the differences with having the show be 52 episodes is that some episodes can feel a bit drawn out, and parts of it can feel a bit stagnant because they've taken this little 6-volume manga and they've basically tried to go wee and eke it out as far as possible, which because I know it also includes the next part of it, the Sakura card bit, but no, I felt like if they'd have maybe contained it to the original box of a manga or a chapter, maybe eke it out a little bit of extra, a bit of a bit more world building. But I'm not saying I don't dislike the original TV series. All I'm saying is that I think the manga is absolutely perfect as it is. So these days I tend to just reread the manga instead of rewatch the show. But personal opinion, everyone has their own. But yeah, so CardCaptor Sakura. As well, to me as a child, I didn't realise it was anime at the time. I just thought it was a cool cartoon because I was quite young. But it was one of my gateway animes into the anime verse, as I'm going to call it in the show. So yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Bar my 2 issues with it, I think that the volumes are amazing, the storyline is great. Having the antagonist also be at the very end of the comic be another guardian is great as well, because there's no real antagonist throughout the first season. She's just catching the cards that she herself released. Kira's trying to teach her, and a lot of people say that the cards themselves are the antagonist per episode, but they're not really. They're bored. They've been cooped up for so long in the book that they finally get a bit of freedom and they're like, woo, let's party. So I wouldn't really say they're bad guys. But Yue has a bit of a chip on his shoulder at the end, and I quite like that it shows, how devoted each of them were to Clow Reed, and how Clow Reed, shaped them, because he was their creator, he was their master, he was also a father to them. So like Kira's like, yeah, no, I choose Sakura, and Sakura is my choice. I think she's a good replacement for Clara Reed. And then you've got Yue going, no one will replace Clara Reed in my book. I will not accept her, you know, out of the question. Which it's basically a very good depiction of when families split up and parents meet a new partner. You know, some kids are like, oh yeah, he's grand, he makes mum or dad happy, he or she makes mum or dad happy, no problem. And other kids are like, no, you're not my mum, or no, you're not my dad, I won't accept you. And I thought that was quite a good analogy in CardCaptors to Yue and Kira Barris when it came to Clara Reed. So that was, you know, quite interesting to see. And I think, because I know a few of my friends whose parents were going through divorce at the time, said, you know, they could relate to Yue at the end of like the manga. You know, it's not right. They didn't want their parents to break up. They wished they'd reconciled. But, you know, they kind of have to just either ignore the new person in their parents' life, or, you know, accept him and or her, and try, you know, build a bond. So, yeah, I thought that was quite interesting in Sakura. And, like, the manga as well, like, look at some of this artwork. You know, Clamp always, you know, go above and beyond when it comes to doing artwork. And then they also do, like, really cute, like, little chibi scenes as well. I really, really like that. Another thing, actually, about the manga that I loved was the inclusion of Sakura and Lee's romance. It never felt forced. And, like, in the beginning, Lee doesn't like Sakura because she's his rival for the cards. But he also has a crush on Yukito, which, you know, Toya's kind of like, no. But as well, Sakura has a crush on Yukito too. And I like how they show, you know, that basically this was kind of them being attracted to his power as Yue, and him being Yue's vessel, rather than it would, you know, and we all have it. Like when we were kids, there was someone who had an older brother or an older sister, and we'd crush on their older brother or sister whenever we went round. And I like how it shows, you know, that Sakura and Lee both realise that this crush that they have isn't anything more than just a small crush, and then they realise that their feelings for each other are the real deal, and they're blossoming, and, you know, it's not rushed and it's not forced, and I think that's amazing. Considering, you know, a lot of anime these days, the relationship is very, oh yeah, this character here, boom, they're together, you know, they're in love. Or, you know, you spend the entire show pulling your hair out because they're like, oh yeah, this character likes this character, and this character likes this character, but they're just going to kind of like dance around each other for the next 24 episodes, and you're like, oh no, don't do that. Whereas in the manga, especially the first part, they acknowledge each other by the end of the first 6 volumes, and they have like a mutual respect. Now I think his feelings by the end of the 6th volume are more predominant for Sakura than Sakura's are for him. Like Tomoyo says it quite a bit, that, you know, oh, you know, you're falling in love, or she like hints at them and she like teases them and tries to bring them together. And that was another thing I did like, aside from the incest, was that Tomoyo is in love with Sakura, but she notices and she realises that Sakura isn't in love with her. So instead of trying to force her feelings onto Sakura and force Sakura to return them, she's like, no, I understand she's never going to return my feelings as more than family or like as a sisterly love. And so she goes out of her way, even though she knows it's going to hurt, to try and bring together Sakura and Lee. And I thought that was a really healthy way of showing, you know, love, because there's many different forms of love, and Clamp loved to like include that. And I will admit that for me was great. You see like all the different ways that people love each other in Sakura. So Sakura and Lee is a romantic love, but it's really cute and it's really like age appropriate. Tomoyo as well is in love with Sakura, but it's not reciprocated. So she, you know, instead of going like crazy and no one else can have you but me, you must love me in return, she's like, okay, no, I accept the love that she has for me as sisterly. I will bow out and I will help her be happy. And then, you know, you've got Sakura and Lee's crush on Yukito, and how it's shown not to be as like deep as originally you think. There's Lee's relationship with Tomoya, which is very friendly, and they become good friends. There's Toya and Yukito and their love, and then Yue gets involved and other things that happen like that in the second season. You've got the dad and the fact, how he loves his kids and he knows something's going on, but he's just kind of like, they'll come to me if they're in serious danger. Fair enough. And I love that. I love all the different types of love that they show. Still not happy with the 9-year-old and the 25-year-old teacher. But again, small blip. And I know, again, like I said, it's not supposed to be romantic, but it's still creepy, and please stop including it, Clamp, because they do it in another show of theirs called Kobito, and I absolutely adored that show, and like the romance is so well done, but again, the main characters are like 9 and 10 years old, and I'm like, no, this is not okay, don't do that. So yeah, those are my views on CardCaptor Sakura. Tell me your views down in the comments. Have you read the mangas? Let me know. And we will be coming back to review the second part of CardCaptor's, the Sakura cards, later on. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. I've been Yanko. We've also, delved into one of my childhood, loves of that also, springboarded me to the person I am today. Let me know some of your childhood loves that springboarded you into anime or just turned you into who you are today. It would be great to hear. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. And I will see you in the next one. Adios!